and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel today, guys, where yes, the season, it is now officially underway. Barca have kicked off the Tour of Asia with a 3-1 victory over Vissel Kobe today, and of course, there's so much for us to discuss about the game there, the goals that we scored, the young players again who've really announced themselves on the first team stage. We're going to be talking about everything we saw from Barca, and stick around as well for transfer news, for contract updates. That is all coming today, so get yourselves ready. Celebrate the brand new campaign being upon us. And let's do this. Because kickoff did arrive to us all at, 7 p.m. local time there in Kobe in Japan. And that was midday kickoff in Barcelona. I've got to be honest with you guys, the early kickoff time, I didn't actually mind it too much, because what it meant was we didn't have to wait the whole day. I was really excited to see Barca play. I was really looking forward to see every single play, again, starting off the brand new season. And the starting lineup was a really exciting one from Hansi Flick. We did have in goal our brand new number 1 goalkeeper, Joan Garcia. That was great to see. Eric García, Kubasi and Inigo Martinez and Balde along the back line. Pedro and Gavi in midfield there. Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha and Ferran Torres. So Flick there naming a very strong starting 11 indeed. And of course, as the game went on, we got the customary, many changes that you see in pre-season. And I think I would still, reinforce that point, guys, as I always do every pre-season. This is simply about gaining match sharpness here. Do not expect to see Barca as the finished product. Don't expect to see players performing at their absolute maximum right now. They do need games under their belts. They do need minutes. That's why we saw so many players out there today. But as we progress here through pre-season, and when we arrive at, say, the Gamper Trophy, that's when you really start to lock in and kick in to that very highest gear. So it does take time. It does take minutes there under the belt. But it was great to see, for instance, Lamine Yamal as the brand new Barcelona number 10. I'm still getting used to it, of course, seeing him with the 10 every time, like, oh, wow, but it does suit him. He looks absolutely fantastic there. I thought he looked pretty sharp, actually, today, probably sharper than maybe I expected him to here early in pre-season. It was great to see Rafinha as well with the headband. I honestly, sometimes when I'm watching the games right now, it does look like Ronaldinho. The guy is actually following very much in his footsteps right now in the way that he's looking, and of course, we would love to see that too in the way that he's playing. Last season, he was incredible, had some really good flashes as well in this game here today. Pedri, he's still a genius. I mean, obviously, he's still a genius. What did we expect from Pedri? The man is consistency personified. That's what he does. He balls. It's Pedri. But I want to talk about Joan Garcia. I want to talk about him because even before the game started, you look at him in the tunnel there, the guy is a presence. You look at him, he is absolutely huge. He's towering over everybody else. Even in the tunnel before the game is kicked off, he is an imposing player. And that is exactly what you want there as a goalkeeper. You want to put fear into the attackers that are facing you and ultimately make yourself as big as you possibly can. I thought he did very well today. His first save ever as a Barcelona keeper came after we gave the ball away, playing out of the back there. As a Barca keeper, you've got to be alert. You've got to stay very aware. This kind of thing can happen. And he got down well then to his left-hand side to easily make the save and hold on to it. He also made a really good stop, we've got to say, when again, we're giving the ball away. Kubasi robbed, of course, by Vissel Kobe. They were in on goal, one-on-one. Joan Garcia makes himself big, makes a really good one-on-one stop there. Unfortunately, of course, he couldn't prevent the goal in the end, but I thought he had really good moments, and I'm excited to see him just grow into that shirt more and more, get more and more minutes under his belt. It is a very different team, to what he had with Espanyol last season, different style of play. His defence are going to be in different places that he needs to get used to, and of course, he's going to be under different kinds of pressures here, but I'm so excited about him. He looks like the kind of guy who can deal with pressure, who is ready to really carry that and ultimately rise to the occasion. So I can't wait to see more of our brand new number 1. But let's talk about Barca's first goal, because it was indeed maybe not the man you'd have expected to score the first goal in Eric García this season, But at the same time, maybe you would have thought that, because suddenly this man is banging in the goals. You know, at the end of last season, he went on a bit of a run where he started to score more and more in front of goal. It was a bit of a scrappy exchange, wasn't it, in the penalty area today. He was first to it. He dispatched it there into the back of the net. And like I say, these goals now are slowly becoming part of his game. You know, it's something that he's really added over the past few months. And what's actually even more extraordinary is that Eric García also scored 2 years ago when we played Vissel Kobe again in pre-season in 2023. So this guy here, he's repeating history, and Eric García right now is looking very, very good, and he will, I believe he will, continue to be an important player for the whole squad, and especially for Hansi Flick in the season to come. And like I say, guys, given this was only our very first pre-season friendly, it was only normal there was going to be so many different changes at halftime. This is what happens here in pre-season, but at the same time, it's kind of what makes it exciting. You get to see a bit of everybody, and especially young players here. This is a golden opportunity. You may not get a huge amount of minutes on the field, but will you do something? Will you impact the game? Will you show Hansi Flick why we should be seeing more of you? And well, let's start with somebody who, to be fair, we said, keep an eye on Roony. You've got to watch him. You've got to keep a lookout for him, because he was somebody who already, even before pre-season, in the training sessions, he was impressing. There was people at the club saying, this is a young lad who's come into the club and he's performing so well. He's gone under the radar in terms of it was a smaller signing. It wasn't a huge transfer fee, but he's got a lot of talent. The club are really quietly confident about him. And then today, I mean, it's a wonderful goal. It is an absolutely astounding finish, really, because you look at it here. Lewandowski holds the ball up, plays in the pass there to Roony. He doesn't take a touch. You know, this is not as though it's pre-season. He got time to set it. He had a good look at where he was aiming. Nothing like that. This happened here in full speed. He doesn't even take a touch. He just keeps his eye on the ball, times it perfectly there with the finish. And that is an absolutely fantastic goal. Finds the bottom corner. He made it look easy. He didn't even go crazy after it happened. You know, it was almost as though, well, yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm capable of. And I'm excited by Roony. I've got to say, he made some good runs today. He looks like a very dynamic player. You know, given the ball in tight situations, he can get himself out of trouble. He can really work and make things happen. And he also made really good arrivals into the box as well. He's only a young player, but looked wise beyond his years at times today. And I thought he very much impressed. And that's why after the game, Flick said, the plan is that Roony stays here in the first team. The plan here is that he remains with us because of what he can offer. He said he has the talent. You can see the quality that he has. There's other young players too, and there's somebody like Marcus Rashford today who showed his quality, but the plan is that we keep Roony with us. What did you make of his game today? What did you make of the way that he looked? And should he be part of the first team this season? Because, yeah, let's go on then to talk about Marcus Rashford, because I thought it was very, very interesting to see very early on there. He came onto the field. I think he was looking lively. He wanted the ball. That's always a good sign there for a player joining Barca. You don't want them to shy away. You don't want them to get, nervous and sort of not be themselves. And I thought it was great to see Flick passing on a lot of instructions, a lot of information early on here. And we're going to see that continue, I think. It's very much a project here with Marcus Rashford. Flick is going to try and get the absolute best of him. And he did say that he hasn't really been playing too much of late. Even in training right now, he hasn't fully resumed full training with the ball. So we're being very careful with him. He's not going to play a load of minutes straight away. But I've got to say, in the time that he was out there, things happened. He had real chances. He had real opportunities. And that's because he was finding some great spaces. And you look at it right here. This is the kind of position that Flick will want Rashford taking up, where there's attention on other players. You're watching the ball, you're looking at other players, they're arriving into the box, and then you've got Rashford out here, he's just drifting away. He's just sensing an opportunity, just moving away there, creating that space. And I've got to say, when he gets this ball, he's going to get a lot of these kinds of passes. And I think Rashford in full flow, with full sharpness, he buries that. Or at least he really works the goalkeeper from that kind of angle. He loves this kind of position. So I was surprised there that he didn't quite get hold of the finish. But like I say, with time, with sharpness, that will definitely improve here. And look at this one. This is the same sort of situation, but it's a different position that he's taken up. This time he's a bit more central. He's actually running in behind. This is what I mean. There's so many different areas here where you can use Rashford's skill set, where he can be of use. And you can look at the run here that he makes in behind, and then he does a really good job, because it's not just about the pace, it's not just about here what he can do athletically, but it's about the mind as well. He pauses, he actually waits there for support, and I thought he plays a brilliant pass across the box, perfect Barca style, and it's actually Roony coming on then to the end of it, and he just puts the finish over the bar. But that could have easily been another goal. Really good combination between those two. A lot of exciting runs, a lot of promise already. Very, very early days. But that was good to see. However, though, guys, we do have to move on to the third goal. And the man, the very young man who got it, it was Dro. Now, I believe that's his nickname there. This is Pedro Fernandez, a 17-year-old, another one coming through the Barca system. And right now, with La Masia, you're basically saying, okay, how old is he? He's probably going to be 17. Is he brilliant? Of course he is. Has he got incredible talent? Yep, that's a La Masia graduate. This is a young man here who, again, he's so talented. You know, we just spawned them from nowhere. And he's another player here who you want to be keeping an eye on. And this goal actually reminded me of Fermin's 2 pre-seasons ago there, just catching one absolutely beautifully from outside of the box, just smashing one into the back of the net. This one here was a little bit closer than Fermin's, but it's another great goal with perfect technique here. And what a way to announce yourself on your Barca debut. You know, he said before he came on, he was feeling a bit nervous. He was talking to people, he was talking to Flick, that really helped him. It didn't look that way. You know, he played again with real maturity. Such a talented young player. And I cannot wait to see more of him there. If you actually watch the finish from behind, you know, the camera angle behind where it happened, it bends away from the keeper there. It was an absolutely wonderful goal. So I'm really excited to see more of Dro. Now, I thought it was interesting, though, with the whole pre-season, because people were originally surprised he was included in the squad. You know, people thought that actually it was going to be Joan. We heard a lot about him in the Catalan media, that Flick liked him, that he was very, very talented. And of course, we know that he has a lot of quality. There's so many young players all vying for the same spots. But what's interesting about that right now is that Joan did not make it here to the pre-season squad with the first team. And right now, Barca are talking with Mallorca about a possible transfer this summer. Now, at this stage, we don't know, is it going to be a loan deal? That's something you'd think, well, probably it's going to be a loan. I don't think we're going to be selling him at this point. But it says that Barca are evaluating all of their options right now. So let's wait and see what's being discussed with Mallorca. We've already done business with them this summer, of course, with Pablo Torre. So Barca and Mallorca right now speaking about Joan. But so much talent, so much quality, and it couldn't have come at a better time with these attacking players emerging from nowhere to help Barca again. But of course, guys, aside from pre-season, the transfer window is still ongoing, and I do have plenty of things here to talk to you about. The first one would be that Pau Victor has now officially left the club. He has joined up with Braga in Portugal. That is a deal there that got agreed and wrapped up pretty quickly, I've got to say. All parties there were keen to get that one done. All the very best to Pau Victor. He will leave for a €12 million transfer fee. 3 million will be possible in variables there, but like we said before, Girona are entitled to 30% of that fee. So Barca will have to take a little bit off that, but it will help us there in terms of fair play. What is also important right now is that it is widely reported, and by Fabrizio Romano as well, that Jules Koundé will renew his contract at Barca. These negotiations have been going on for a little bit of time. You know, to be honest, it hasn't taken all that much, and that's always great to see. I always like to see players here who just want to stay. You know, it's not hard to get them to renew their contract. That feels like the way it's been with Jules Koundé. He's very committed, of course. He's very much become a key part of this team, and especially Hansi Flick's team as well. He will renew until 2030, and I think all eyes now are going to be on Frenkie de Jong. You know, it wasn't in the starting lineup today. I don't think there's anything at all that you can read in that. But of course, right now, we are still waiting on him to renew. We thought that maybe it would have been done by now. We thought that maybe this would have happened several weeks ago, to be honest. But don't forget, there have been that switch in agents. You know, he left his former agent. That wasn't all that easy to do. Barca now are trying to negotiate with the new one. It's all just sort of dragging on a bit. But hopefully now, with that Koundé one banked, we're going to move on to Frenkie de Jong. That's going to be the next renewal. It's going to be maybe a contract there that should also help the club in terms of FFP, but we will have to wait and see on that, guys. But what I want to ask you about is a quote from Joan Laporta on our transfer business, on our situation right now, and he's basically come out and said there won't be any more signings. That's what we expect right now, that the work that we've done this summer, the players that we've signed, that will probably be it for our summer transfer window. And I just wonder now, looking at this pre-season game here, looking at the squad that we have, do you believe we have enough? You know, if we went into the season with this exact squad, are you happy with that? Have we done enough this summer? I think we've done some good business. I think we've certainly brought in talent and quality. We've got so many young players as well that we can call upon. But in your opinion right now, if we did nothing else this summer, How confident would you be heading into this new season? That is something to let me know in the comments down below, and we will be discussing that in more detail, guys, in the videos to come. But let me know what you made of the first preseason friendly today. It's a good win. It's nice to win. It's always good to win. But it was great to see those goals. Amazing from Roony. Fantastic as well from Dro. And Eric García, this man is a certified goal machine. I will catch all of you soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. But until next time, guys, as always, Vissel Kobe and Dro.